something, just get me something.
I think that's it's either the Beaufort or the Blenheim. I think it's the Beaufort, which is the Australian one as well.
Australian Beaufort, yeah.
Go choose one of the little touches I quite liked, if I'm remembering it rightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the tape.
Yeah.
It's like bullet holes or something they've gone through and
just taped over the bullet holes.
over them. At least I think that's what that is. Although symmetrical on both sides, which may be.
Oh, there may be vision ports.
Could be actually.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
God.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See the American
Actually,
turret rather than the old British one.
Ah, yep.
Yeah.
See, they don't have any other Beauforts to compare it to.
Yeah. Because it's got the Pratt and Whitney motors.
Yeah.
Whereas the British had the Taurus engine.
Right.
On the British one.
Apparently the aerial's different as well. The Brit one was a round one.
Yes, that's right.
Was this the same plane that they changed the dimensions on the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
a bit wider.
2 inch, in the old measure, 2 inches wider in the fuselage. So they were able to get the air conditioning units into it.
Yeah.
And the British said, what do you need air conditioning for? And they came to Darwin and went, oh, I see, what do you mean?
Yes, rather. Oh, that's cool.
Yes, the British didn't like their planes being modified, but yeah, they kind of accepted it after it had been done and went, oh, right.
Yeah.
But they have actually found they sent one aircraft, I've probably told you this, over to Australia, a Taurus engine version, as a
It's like a sort of
a model
yeah.
for them to work off.
Yeah.
And it got used in combat in New Guinea and crashed.
Yep.
And has recently been found. Recently, in the last few years, has been found.
That's fantastic.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because there is a Beaufort being built in I think in Canada.
Yeah.
It is complete. I think the only thing they need were bomb doors, but that would be done by now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so any parts would be received, I'm sure.
That's quite. I mean, if they can restore this one that was in New Guinea, it's just quite good because they've got the history of it. It's a very it's
it's a one-off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in the sense that it is a standard British one, but it actually saw action in the Pacific.
Exactly. I mean, if it had been, if they just found a Beaufort in, somewhere in Europe or something, it'd be like, well, who knows what its history is. But
well, yeah. But imagine them finding, say, an Australian Beaufort in Europe.
Oh God, they'd be like, huh? Yeah.
It'd be just as
be a complete mystery.
Yeah, it's like the Swedish tank that they found in Russia.
Oh really?
World War II tank.
Wow.
Swedish one.
Yeah.
But it had been sent to the Soviet Union by the Swedes as would you like to try it out?
Buy some here.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
It's amazing. And the designs that the Swedes came up with, I was watching a thing on it, and that they had one that had wheels and tracks that it could use either or.
Yeah.
And so it was fast on the road, but had the mobility of a tank over
obstacles.
Yeah, that was. It was surprising. It kind of seemed a bit silly at first, and then it was like, actually, that works really well. So yeah, and they had two versions. They had one version without the wheels.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could get along at about 70 k's an hour, I think, on the road. So yeah, it handled reasonably well too.
Yeah. I do like that. That is, and the fact that the Aussies, let go of the 303 and put in half-inch.
Yes.
And
actually, that's a good point. That'd be why there's. Hang on, what does it say? What's in the turret? So yeah, it's 50 cals in that'll be in the rear turret.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder the damn thing's so dangerous.
It is really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
the number of zeros that they shot down.
Oh, gotcha.
By comparison, when you compare it to the British Beaufort,
Yeah.
which was a good plane.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great plane, but it was a good plane.
Yeah.
My father hated them. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He just said it was bloody. Yeah, they lost so many.
Yeah.
But there was nothing aerodynamically wrong with them.
No, they were flying well.
But the lack of ability to hit back
Yeah, yeah.
was a serious shortcoming.
Yes, absolutely.
So when the Aussies had them and they got these American guns and shipped them, and they weren't bound by...
Because the Zeros had 50 cals.
Oh,
so
yeah. And 20 bill, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and some of these actually had, through the side ports, they had extra guns.
Ooh, wow.
And wasn't unusual, so the extra crew members
Yeah.
had the chance to fight back as well.
God, it's like miniature flying fortress.
Indeed. And there were many experiences of not just a zero, but multiple zeros being shot down.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so-
I could believe that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's amazing. I don't even know if it is amazing, the difference it makes, but the 303s just do feel so anemic when you...
Yeah.
It's...
They can do lethal damage, but...
Yeah. Quite often... especially, I suppose, if you were to compare it to real life, you don't get people slowly bleeding out and dying, months later in this game.
No.
Which, you would have in real life. It's great,
Yeah.
but when it comes down to needing to get them dead, then not, kill us and then fly home and die.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
It's designed to kill you, not just piss you off.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And like a 303, will hit an aircraft and go inside and do a bit of damage, and maybe kill someone on the side.
Yeah.
And you need a lot of them to bring an aircraft down.
Mm.
A half-inch will go through the aircraft and just keep going. And take whatever's in front of it away as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge difference when you actually see the guns in real life with a person holding them.
Oh,
It really is like the difference between a gun and a cannon, even though the half-inch is still considered just not half-inch.
there is no actual differentiating line between a machine gun and a cannon. It's just something that
just kind of definitely has that feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, there's nothing to say that a half-inch is not a small cannon.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah, definitely. It's just when they're talking about aircraft, they tend to kind of draw the line at that, where it's like, okay, it's a machine gun and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely more.
So that Beaufort was certainly an aircraft you'd treat with a great deal of respect if you were trying to take it on.
Yeah.
And with the American engines too, its top speed was higher. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely actually a bit of a rude shock when in the progression in this game, because you go from this to the Wellington. Of course, that's only got the 30 cals in the back.
Yeah.
Which
I'd rather fly that than
well, you start getting shot out of the sky a lot more, and yet you're in the next aircraft. This supposedly the next aircraft up.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not liking this. So yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, because the Wellington is a target. That is not so much a target. It's
got
just
some
almost it's got some teeth to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Jingles actually was doing a thing. I don't think he was playing. It was a video somebody else had done and sent in to him, and just showing aircraft after aircraft falling to the Beaufort.
Yeah.
It was just the mighty Beaufort, and it was just like and it was just quite funny because it's not, people don't consider it. I think a lot of people think of it as the British. The British, especially at the low tiers in their aircraft. Apart from everybody knows that the Beaufighter, that the front end is the sharp end, and you really stay away from that.
Yeah,
people learn that very quickly.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of the British aircraft are considered, their firepower is considered not really good enough. Even the Spitfire makes up for its lack of firepower with manoeuvrability.
Yeah.
And it's got enough guns that it makes up for it as well. But you can get sprayed by a Spitfire and go, "Ooh, I'm still okay."
Yeah.
So this definitely, it takes people by surprise.
Yeah.
But,
No, I love that. That's really good. I love the Yorkshire Rose on it. That's really good.
yeah, stuff that I've put on, and not even you'd know more about these symbols than I do. So, yeah.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. You get a marking like that because Australians were very quite demonstrative with a lot of their signage on their aircraft, so that is quite believable.
Yeah.
And yeah, they used to have some quite obscene things, but that's very tame.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, a lot of Brits flew with the Royal Australian Air Force as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, in the Pacific, a lot of them were, you know, British,
I
not
can
British
imagine
descent, of course, but
yeah, but you probably
some were actually Brits.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I suppose because when the shit hit the fan, there were a lot of British military and that were out in the Pacific because there was all the British territories.
That's right. And Singapore.
Yeah.
I mean, some got out of, not many got out of Singapore, but those that were on their way to Singapore ended up coming to Australia. So,
yeah. Well, thank you for coming here.
That's all right. It's great.
Chat about this.
Yeah.
So I might not too sure whether I'll put it up as one video or split it up into a couple or go through and see.
Yeah. See what sort of response we get. We'll probably get a few people debating what I've said.
Yeah, that's more than
And
welcome.
as I said, with a lot of what I've said, it's what I believe and I've heard, so it may not be factually true.
Yeah, I don't
So everything that you see on the internet is absolutely true.
yeah. Just, I don't think we've come up with too many sort of controversial either in anything that was kind of particularly sort of if my brain would engage gear would be great. Yeah, I'm kind of like anything that's too much of a sort of most of the stuff we talk about is pretty much fact. Like there's not too much opinion stuff.
No.
Or if there is opinion stuff, it's obviously opinion. Like you know, really liked that is an opinion.
Yeah. And I do believe.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I'm led to believe that such and such is the case.
Yeah.
And it may well be the case, and probably is the case.
Yeah.
But then again, I leave myself open to correction if someone can prove
absolutely.
otherwise. Yeah.
Well, I know I've heard like with the you know the modifications to. Well, I mean we've got the aircraft right in front of us. You know we know the Aussies modified.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. That's interesting as well when people come up with. When you get that debate, you can learn new things.
You do,
which is,
indeed.
Which is
And
great.
in fact, if anyone can tell me anything new
Yeah.
that I haven't already heard before, or I can't remember, and renew my memory, I'd be more than grateful. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's really cool. Which I suppose, the stuff we might have talked about that people might know about would be some of the stuff with the French aircraft and.
Indeed.
You know,
yeah. I'm not, well versed with French aircraft.
Yeah.
But they had some well, like the British,
Mm-hmm.
some that were immediately forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had some that would have stood and did stand the test of time. The Duotine, for instance.
Is that a little fighter?
Little fighter, yeah.
I think they have that, and it's like a D510 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's actually really nice.
Very nice aircraft, and in fact, after the fall of after the liberation of France, a number were liberated and were taken on by the French Air Force when it became no longer the Free French Air Force and became the French Air Force.
Yeah.
It was taken on, and in fact the Italians had some, which when in their forces, but they kept on with the fascist air force that kept going right to the end of the war.
Yeah.
In fact, the last unit, apart from a very peculiar situation, I think in Iceland or Greenland,
Right.
a German meteorological unit in at the end of 1945, it was something like about September or October 1945,
Yeah.
surrendered.
Huh.
And in fact was the last Axis unit to surrender during the war, but
That's amazing.
it wasn't a combat unit, it was a meteorological
Yeah.
unit. So apart from the odd Japanese soldier that kept on fighting until the 1960s.
Dedicated, weren't they?
Dedicated, absolutely. It was the last official unit to surrender. But the the Duotine, I'm trying to remember the number of it. Hey, it'll come up. Superb, absolutely superb.
I've I've only flown it once in here, and that was because like I don't have the aircraft. There was they've got a few single player bonus missions, and yeah, they had that, and I was like, oh, I get to fly it.
Yeah.
And it was, I really liked it.
The block aircraft, they were alright. You know,
Know nothing about those.
Yeah, Bloch.
Yeah.
A lot of the Polish volunteers flew them. Did quite well.
Yeah.
The Marine Saulnier,
Mm-hmm.
not a particularly good aircraft, although aerodynamically there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
It was again
Things like
power
engines.
situation.
Yeah.
The Swiss had got hold of a few.
Mm-hmm.
The Germans, I have never seen any in German markings. That doesn't mean that they didn't have any, but they certainly handed on some to the Finns.
Oh, okay.
And the Finns put Russian engines in them from shot down Russian aircraft.
Okay.
And turned them into formidable aircraft.
Yeah.
So, look, watch this space. That would be really interesting one to get. Certainly, if these guys, put up the Marine Saulnier, in Finnish markings, that would be.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic if they could get a French tech tree going up for aircraft.
Yeah.
Because.
Well, the minor nations would be.
That was actually saying that people are sort of. What's the word? Trying to get these people.
Canvassing them for.
Canvassing, thank you.
Yes.
Is a. Like a mixed nations tree, like
yes.
The rest of these nations and then the rest of the world.
The rest of the world.
Yeah.
Well, like that is Australian.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an Australian aircraft. It's a British design, but it's an Australian aircraft.
Yeah.
The Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wirraway.
Wirraway was an American.
Was
actually an American.
Yeah.
Based
on, I believe, on the Yale trainer,
remember.
But it could also be on the Harvard as well. I don't know.
I think it might be the Harvard.
Might be the Harvard.
Yeah.
But a lot of parts made under license, and then they just hooked it together and called it the Wirraway.
Yeah. I don't know if they did any modifications, but they probably did do some.
Undoubtedly.
I think
it's in the Australian nature.
Yeah, to tinker.
To tinker.
Yeah.
You can't just leave things alone. You've got to make them better.
Yeah.
And adapt them for the conditions in which you are working.
Yeah, sometimes it's just out of necessity.
Because Walkabout Creek, Northern Territory is not quite the same as Fresno, California.
Yeah.
The conditions are very different. So
we've got an old Holden part that might fit that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be good to have a minor nations one, and you could have the Dutch, the IIR-80 Romanian fighter.
Oh wow! Yeah, that
was superb.
Wow.
Aerodynamically superb.
Yeah.
And served right to the end of the war in both the Romanian Air Force, for the Germans and against the Germans. Naturally. And I do believe that the Germans had a few of them in there.
Yeah.
They turned over a few to them as well. The Fokker D-21 was probably the last fixed undercarriage fighter of the war.
Oh wow!
And was excellent.
Yeah.
Handled really well. You didn't, according to the pilots, you didn't even notice you had your undercarriage, fixed undercarriage. And the Finns flew them with great effect. The Dutch flew them with great effect.
Yeah.
During the brief time they were fighting Germany. But what were captured were handed on to the Finns, and they used it with great effect.
Yeah.
So, good on them. And the Fokker G1,
Mm-hmm.
twin boom heavy fighter.
Oh yeah.
Again, scored a number of kills during the Dutch-German War. One ended up in Britain.
Yeah.
Was flown to escape, and the Germans used them as trainers in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So a few of them ended up as trainers in Germany.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever used them in combat after that time.
Yeah.
So there's lots of potential there. But what they've got here, I mean, although I don't play these games, I really appreciate the artistry that's gone into it. These guys are brilliant.
Oh.
My hat's off. If I was wearing a hat, I'd tip my hat to them, because that's superb. Well done, guys. Well done. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
Can't praise them enough, really.
Yeah, I've just some people criticise them because they get things wrong occasionally, and
look, that's life. Things sometimes go wrong.
yeah.
And as long as you're man enough to say, "Oh, I got that wrong. Sorry."
Yeah. I think that's where
fix
some
it.
difficulty comes into as well, because there is the language barrier as well. That
Because you said these are designed in Russia.
yeah, it's a Russian team. So.
Well, I tell you what, it's good that they're open-minded to take in the world.
Oh.
Yeah. And without knocking my American friends, I have a few.
Yeah.
That they are not so closed off as Americans can be when they're doing these things. Where if it's not American, it ain't worth doing.
Yeah.
Apart from the occasional Spitfire they might throw in. Just to. And and I think most Americans would probably agree with me.
There'd be a large number that would. Yeah, for
so
sure.
They're inclined to be Amerocentric.
Yeah.
But these guys,
Yeah, no, they've got.
I'm very, very impressed by what they've done.
They've definitely got a real passion for it. That's for sure.
No, it shows. It does show.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was actually interesting, thinking about the amount of work that goes into these. One of the things that Jingles, if you've seen his videos, was at I think it was the Bovington Tank Museum, and actually met one of the developers there at the tank museum with a tape measure coming out of one of the tanks. So it was the first indication that the British tank tree was being worked on.
Yes, yes.
If I remember rightly, it was a British tank.
And it'd be good to see World War I stuff coming in.
That's
that would be, especially the tanks.
Yeah.
World War I tanks, the German tanks were amazing.
Yeah.
It was like
there's one that in particular that sticks in mind, is that one, the massive one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to touch World War I as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But it would be
one of these days, maybe. But
maybe after they've got the.
But I mean, World War II was enough to keep you going for a long time.
Yeah. Especially considering they're kind of creeping into the Korean War era as well.
Well, yeah.
It's it's very interesting. It's considering you start out in biplanes in this and you end up in jets it's amazing.
Yeah, and when it's hard to believe that in 1945 there were still biplane fighters in combat.
Yeah.
And they're jets.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what the hell? That technically it never happened, but it was technically possible that a jet and a biplane would come into combat against each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
it was just actually a case of just the availability, really. At the end of the day.
I mean, you fly with what you've got.
Yeah.
You can't say, "Oh, I want an upgrade."
Yeah.
This is what you got, mate.
Yeah.
You either fly it or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll probably get shot.
Yeah.
But it was during the uprising in Slovakia.
Yeah.
The Slovak uprising, and they took off in an Avia biplane fighter.
Right.
Which is again minor nations aircraft.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And it intercepted a Junkers 52 transport and shot it down. It was the last biplane air-to-air kill of World War II. So it was,
Yeah. That's incredible.
And just, obviously, if it was on that day, they'd have still been flying them after that time. So
yeah,
probably right to the end of the war.
Yeah.
Certainly, the CR-42 Italian fighter was used right up until the end of the war.
Yeah. Well, I got that. And it's actually
anti-partisan.
Yeah.
Fighting the resistance.
Yeah.
And it had certain advantages in the biplane.
Well,
against ground targets.
Yeah, because you can go. It's
turning circles are much tighter, and you're able to deliver.
Got a very low stall speed if you need to be flying low.
Yeah.
Slow. Sorry.
Yeah.
So not that you necessarily want to be flying too slow when you've got ground targets.
Not when you've got rifles aimed at you. No.
Yeah. No, that's in here, and that's a very good aircraft.
Yeah, brilliant aircraft.
Yeah.
There's one of those still around. In Britain.
Nice. Oh.
It landed during the Battle of Britain.
Oh yeah.
People forget that the Italians were in the Battle of Britain.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wish the film The Battle of Britain, which is one of my favourite films ever, a
Yeah.
superb film, that they had actually included the Italians in it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think today they probably would have done because of the CG capabilities.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that.
But the fact that it was ignored, yeah, it wasn't even mentioned at all. And this Italian pilot who must have had balls of brass because to fly a CR-42 across the English Channel to engage the RAF was a lot of big cojones, to say the least.
Yeah.
But his oil, according to what I've read, his oil pipe detached.
Oh shit.
So the engine overheated.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It would
he
do
was
very
forced down.
quickly.
But he landed beautifully at a field.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that it was probably one of the few planes that could have landed in that field.
Right.
Because of its short landing ability.
Yeah.
Because it had anti-glider posts up.
Oh, right.
Which I think sometimes are a benefit and a pain in the arse because
Especially if it's your own people.
it's indiscriminate against friend or foe.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, he enjoyed the rest of the war as a guest of Her Majesty, and the plane is in a museum.
Wow.
Perfect, in flyable condition.
Yeah.
It's in, they could fly it if they wanted to.
That's amazing.
So yeah, absolutely beautiful.
It's great when you see things like that preserved.
Oh yeah.
That was one of the things at the tank museum was they had so many tanks there that needed restoring, and like some of them just kept outside because they just had nowhere to put them.
Nowhere to put them. Yeah. Well, they're finding now that at least dozens, possibly hundreds of tanks from World War II. They're finding in Iraq.
Oh yeah, that's not
they're
surprising.
just sitting there, and of course they're in good condition because of desert climate.
Yeah, yeah.
So who knows? Some of those may end up back in Europe and back in being restored.
There's definitely enthusiasm for the old historical stuff. Is just.
But some of these, I mean, I don't think. Here's me talking. Who knows? Sweet bugger all about computers. That certain aircraft could be put in without too many major modifications, like the Lancaster Mark II.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Spitfire with floats.
Oh shit, yeah. That would be
Yeah.
good. I'm sure I've seen a picture of that somewhere.
They only have had one.
Actually, that would be great because I'm thinking even from a game point of view, because the British Tech Tree actually has a real shortage of float and flying boat.
Yeah.
Planes.
Walrus, of course, and Sea Otter.
Ah, yep.
And of course the Walrus is good because you've got the Seagull. Now the Seagull was the Australian version of the Walrus.
Oh, okay.
And it just used the American engine, and it was built in Australia.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's an Australian aircraft,
Yeah.
but of a British design. But
So-
basically, from a distance, you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
They look the same.
I imagine the American engines probably had a bit more power too.
Yeah, generally they were. They had a bigger capacity.
Yeah.
They were bigger engine.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the radials as well, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
the Brits tended to be a lot better with the
Inlines.
inlines.
Yeah.
I remember that being.
When the British engines were beautifully made,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they were tighter, and if anything goes wrong, it goes wrong spectacularly. But,
yeah.
so it's really. Oh, I mean, really enjoyed this, Adam. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. You've been good.
We'll do this again.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because this is just something I can talk about all day. To be honest.
That's fantastic.
I don't think there's ever a cut-off point for me where I'll stop talking about aircraft of World War II and even some of the other conflicts that have been around. But it's really good to see.
Yeah. There's
Because I've learnt a lot just with you showing me these games and seeing aircraft. I thought, I've heard of that, but never seen it in a moving situation.
Yeah.
Either because there's no videos of them and things like that. And certainly the Soviet aircraft are interesting because I know so little about them.
Yeah.
Soviet, French and Japanese I don't know that much about.
That was when I was looking up. I was doing some online research, not just looking in the game. I think it might be in this slot. And I was the Yak 9K.
Oh yes, yeah. Is that the high altitude version?
No, it is. Oh, what am I doing? It's the one with the 45mm cannon.
Oh God, yes. Yes.
And it ended up, they basically had a batch of them, a small batch of them, that they ended up just kind of using them until their airframes just said no more, which didn't take long. And that was it. They were just like, no, it's. They actually reached a point where it's like, no, it's too much.
Yeah.
Where is it? There we go. Hang on. Goes there. But yeah, one of the interesting things is you look at that. I think the 9T, yeah, but then.
That's the layer.
Yeah. Okay, what slot are you going in that one? Right, and this is something new, is when you look at that, it can be the K or the T, it doesn't matter. But do you notice the difference?
Not a lot, no.
Okay, hang on.
Oh, the nose, the...
Cockpit. It's further back.
Ah, because the gun...
The T and that, yeah, it's
yes,
to
it is.
compensate for the weight.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the centre of gravity would be put
Yeah.
up,
Yeah, the guns are that big. I mean,
And
this
it's
gun.
firing through the spinner.
Yeah. If you look at the X-ray of it, I'll do it. Yeah, 9K might be easier to see.
Yes.
You've got X-ray. Actually, see it goes through the V.
Right. Because what they've done is
There we go.
make an aircraft compared to the Aerocobra.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
But yeah, look at that. I mean, it's. But I mean, of course, the Aerocobra had the engine in the back. They've got everything in the front.
Everything in the front.
But yeah, it's just I've got the gun highlighted there. It's fucking huge. I mean, it reminds me of the A10 in that respect. It's But yeah, you hit. I'm pretty sure they're explosive rounds on these as well. What have they got? Hang on. Yeah. Fuse delay with a fuse sensitivity of 0.1mm. So yeah, high explosive fragmentation incendiary tracer shells.
Oh, yeah.
So they will blow up and set you on fire.
Yeah. That'll ruin your day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as I say, even in real life, in combat, they said it would normally take, on average, to take an aircraft down, it was about 2 or 3 shells. And that was on average, so there would have been a lot of one hit. But I don't know if they were counting that as 2 or 3 hits, or you would fire 2 or 3 times and then get a hit together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
I mean, one hit will pretty much do it, and especially against the giant aircraft, the Norman Voss, and the big Heinkels and that. You hit them with that.
Yeah.
And,
It's gonna make a hell of a mess.
Because the Aerocobra, I mean, you don't think of it as an air-to-air aircraft so much, but the Soviets used them in air-to-air combat.
That was
with
about
devastating effect.
Yeah, I think because people assumed that they used them mostly for ground attack.
Yeah.
But the Americans, the ammunition they had to get from the Americans wouldn't give them ground attack ammunition.
Yeah.
They only gave them the fragmentation,
Yeah.
high explosive stuff. So
They probably made their own.
Not as far as I know. They used them for air to air.
Yeah.
Which it was as far as the Russians were concerned, it was a good aircraft.
Yeah.
But yeah, the muzzle velocity on the Aerocobra was slower as well, which I didn't hear of any Russians complaining about it, but the Americans compared it to lobbing a grapefruit at the target, which is not far off when you fire. It's just like you can see this big arc, which is nothing like what the machine guns are firing at.
Yeah.
So whereas some of the other, was it one of the British tanks, one I think it might be the Challenger or something, or maybe one of the previous ones, had actually got a machine gun for lining up the shots for the main one, and the ammunition it fires has the same ballistic properties
as the shell itself. Yeah.
So yeah, very clever, and you definitely
sighting gun. Yeah, the Germans did that in World War Two.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Used a Spandau machine gun to sight it.
Yeah. And certainly, I think with some of the better made aircraft where everything's matched up a bit better, the machine guns and the cannons seem to be on a very not identical, but very close.
Yeah.
Whereas not the Airacobras. No, fire them separately as you're just wasting ammunition otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah. But,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I quite like this X-ray, even though it's not hugely detailed, but it does give you an idea because you can mouse over and it tells you what they are. So it's a little part of the liquid cooling system there, oil cooler down there.
Yeah.
Obviously fuel tanks, your controls. And in the actual game, when you're getting hit by rounds and stuff, it's actually calculating all this stuff.
Yeah.
So if a round goes through there, you do lose control of that.
Yeah.
And you can bring this up in the game, and actually, you can't do it in simulator mode because you couldn't do it in real life. But in the other modes, you can bring that up, and it'll actually color code. Like this color is like in perfect health, but then you've got sort of yellow going all the way through to red, and then black, which obviously broken. And just so that you can kind of see what's been done to your aircraft.
Yeah.
Which is all, very interesting. It's like, why is my controls not working?
They'll tell you. Look, this has been great. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Do it again soon.
Oh, yes.
Maybe have a look at some other things, and I'd quite like to do the... I'd definitely want to do more of this. But I have yet to play the Aliens game.
Oh, right. Right.
And that'll probably get us talking about sci-fi stuff.
Sci-fi stuff, yes,
stuff as well.
indeed.
Great.
Yes.
And probably mutually cacking our pants when the alien comes to visit as well.
Okay.
But there's a few interesting things. Bit of moral support for that would be welcome. But it's certainly the first part of it is. I've heard it gets, once you've kind of gotten past a certain point, it gets a bit monotonous, which is fine. But the first half of it is done very well. Like even the last part's done well, but they, when sometimes people don't know when to move on with something, and that's they let it.
It's like relationships sometimes.
Can be, yes. Yeah. It sort of gets to the point where it's not scary anymore because you've got a flamethrower.
Yeah.
And that gets rid of the alien quite nicely.
Yeah.
And you end up doing a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay, you can end the game. So, yes.
No. Good.
Cool. I shall stop the recording. And,
I hope my voice doesn't sound too stupid.
Oh, no. It's not the best microphone in the world, but it's alright. If yours sounds daft, so does mine. Cool. Here we go.
Your voice is fantastic.
We sound so similar, though. It's great.